Tell me, do you believe men are loyal out of love? Do you think their devotion springs from respect, gratitude, or honor? Look closer, and you will see how quickly affection turns to betrayal the moment danger appears. Love fades with distance, but fear walks beside a man wherever he goes. It gnaws at his conscience, chains his actions, and binds him to those who wield it. Fear is not a weakness. It is the invisible hand that governs obedience. And once you understand this, you will never see loyalty the same way again. Men will swear they are bound to you by love, by gratitude, by devotion. They will raise their hands to the heavens and proclaim eternal loyalty, but such words dissolve the moment hardship enters their lives. Love is soft, fragile, and fleeting. It vanishes in the face of danger, for men love only when it costs them nothing. But fear is the one chain they dare not break, for fear pierces the very instinct of survival, and nothing in human nature is stronger than the will to preserve one's life. Consider how quickly men turn against their benefactors. A ruler who raises his subjects from poverty to comfort will still be hated for the smallest denial. A friend who sacrifices for another will be abandoned when the winds change. Love asks too much trust, too much memory, and men are creatures of short memory. They forget the good as easily as they forget the warmth of yesterday's sun. Yet they never forget fear, because fear burns itself into their nerves, and every decision they make trembles under its shadow. It is not cruelty to acknowledge this truth, it is wisdom. A leader who relies upon affection will one day find himself betrayed. For affection is a gift men give when it suits them, and they can withdraw it without shame. But fear is not given, it is imposed. It is a fortress built inside the human mind, stronger than gratitude, stronger than admiration, stronger than any noble sentiment. And when men weigh their choices, it is not love that guides them, but the silent calculation of pain avoided and punishment endured. You will hear the weak insist that fear breeds only hatred, that a man ruled by fear cannot truly serve. But reflect, does hatred topple a ruler, or does weakness? History shows that the hated often endure, while the loved fall swiftly when they are no longer feared. Men despise what they cannot control, but they obey what they cannot resist. Better, then, to be feared and secure than loved and vulnerable. In war, in politics, in the household itself, the same law governs. The soldier fights not out of love for his commander, but because the price of disobedience is greater than the danger of battle. The citizen obeys not because he reveres the law, but because punishment awaits him should he break it. Even in the intimacy of relationships, fear of loss, fear of loneliness, fear of consequence keep men faithful more than any vow spoken in passion. Fear, everywhere, is the iron thread woven through loyalty, so do not be deceived by the words of men when they declare their devotion. Look instead to what they fear, for that is where their obedience lies. One who commands fear never stands alone. One who relies on love stands already betrayed. And so I tell you this simple, immutable truth. Love may invite loyalty, but fear guarantees it. Men adorn themselves with the cloak of virtue, speaking endlessly of justice, honor, and morality. They raise banners of righteousness and swear they seek only the good of others. Yet beneath this veil there beats the same relentless heart, ambition. Every virtue you see displayed upon the public stage is but a mask concealing the hunger for advantage, the desire to rise above others, the will to possess what they do not yet hold. Consider the man who speaks of justice. Does he speak because he loves fairness, or because justice, when defined by his voice, places him in authority over others? Consider the man who sacrifices for the sake of honor. Does he truly bleed for noble ideals, or does he bleed so that his name may echo through the corridors of history. Men rarely admit it, but even their most selfless gestures serve the silent master within, their ambition. This is not a condemnation, it is the naked truth of human nature. No man ascends without ambition, and no man cloaks his ambition without virtue. Virtue is the tool by which ambition disguises itself to be accepted by the masses. Men are drawn to the language of morality. They are persuaded by appearances of righteousness. Therefore, the ambitious must wear the robe of virtue if they wish to conceal the iron hand that moves beneath it. History offers endless testimony. The rulers who spoke of liberty often sought dominion. Those who promised peace often prepared for war. Even the priests who clothed themselves in piety did so to wield authority over the souls of men. Virtue becomes a coin, and with it, the ambitious purchase the loyalty and admiration of the naive. The common man does not see the ambition beneath, for he is enchanted by the appearance of goodness. Do not be deceived when men speak noble words, for the higher they raise their voices about morality, the more cunningly they pursue their private gain. If you strip away their speeches, you will see the calculation. If you watch their deeds, you will see the hunger. And if you confront them with truth, they will deny it, for to reveal ambition openly is to risk losing the mask that gives them power. This is why rulers must master the art of appearing virtuous, though they act from ambition. The people want to believe they are led by goodness. They fear the sight of naked desire. Give them the comfort of virtue in appearance, while securing your power with ambition in reality. It is not hypocrisy, it is necessity. Without the illusion of virtue, ambition is condemned. Without ambition, virtue is powerless. So remember, every virtue you see displayed by others conceals an interest. Every act of goodness hides a purpose. Every man who seems selfless is, at his core, advancing himself. The mask may glitter with gold, but behind it burns the same eternal fire, the ambition that rules us all. If men always spoke the truth, civilization itself would crumble within a day. You believe truth is the foundation of order, yet it is deception that sustains it. Deception is not the exception, it is the rule, the invisible thread woven into every negotiation, every promise, every alliance, every smile. Men deceive because they must, and those who refuse soon find themselves crushed by those who do not hesitate to wield falsehood as a weapon. Look around you. Merchants inflate the value of their goods. Rulers promise peace while plotting wars. Lovers whisper fidelity while their hearts wander elsewhere. Even the beggar in the street deceives when he exaggerates his misery to gain more pity. Deception is not only the tool of the powerful, it is the common language of survival. The fox survives because it knows how to appear weak when it is strong, harmless when it is lethal. So too with men. The weak deceive to shield themselves from the strong deceive to keep the weak obedient. And yet, everyone claims to despise deception, while every man practices it. This hypocrisy is the essence of human nature. To live is to deceive, and to master life is to do so better than your enemies. Do not imagine that honesty makes a man noble. A man who speaks without disguise is a lamb in a world of wolves. His words may be pure, but his fate will be slaughter. Men do not reward truth. They fear it, they resent it, and they punish it. But deception, well crafted and skillfully placed, wins trust, loyalty, and even love. People long to believe what comforts them, not what wounds them. And so the deceiver becomes their savior, while the truth teller becomes their enemy. Understand this. To survive is not merely to defend against violence, but to navigate the labyrinth of human lies. One must learn when to conceal, when to mislead, and when to give the illusion of truth while hiding the blade behind it. To appear trustworthy while plotting one's advantage is the highest art. The most successful men in history, rulers, generals, prophets, all mastered this. They concealed their intentions until the moment of strike, and by then, it was too late for their enemies to resist. Even in daily life, deception governs relationships. A man praises a friend's virtue while envying his fortune. A woman feigns patience while calculating her next move. A servant pretends loyalty while dreaming of freedom. Remove deception from these interactions, and you will see bonds dissolve into conflict and resentment. Therefore, let no man delude himself. Truth is admired in speech but rarely rewarded in practice. It is deception, not honesty, that buys survival, power, and security. Those who understand this live, those who deny it perish. Remember this above all, the world belongs not to the honest, but to the cunning. For deception is the true coin of human exchange, and only those who spend it wisely will endure. Love is spoken of as the highest virtue, the force that binds men together, the cure for violence and chaos. But I tell you, love is a fragile bond, easily broken, easily betrayed. Fear, on the other hand, is iron. It fastens chains around the human heart more tightly than any oath or promise of affection. Consider how fleeting love is. Men love when it suits them. They love when their stomachs are full, when their lives are safe, when their desires are satisfied. But when hunger gnaws, when danger threatens, when ambition calls, love withers like a flower in winter. A man who claims to love you will abandon you the moment his own survival or gain requires it. His loyalty is not to you, but to his comfort. And yet, if that same man fears you, he will think twice before betraying you. Fear grips the mind even when love fades. Do not mistake this truth. I do not say it is better to be hated. Hatred is dangerous, for it festers and breeds rebellion. But fear, carefully measured and wisely maintained, is the strongest safeguard a ruler, a leader, or even a simple man can possess. Love depends on the will of others, fragile and uncertain. Fear depends on you, on the power you project, the consequences you can inflict. That is why fear is more reliable than love. Think of rulers throughout history. Those who sought only to be loved became weak, subject to the whims of their people, toppled when affection soured. But those who commanded fear endured longer, for men dared not challenge them openly. A man will betray a loving master if opportunity smiles upon him, but he hesitates to cross the one he fears, even when tempted by reward. For the memory of punishment is sharper than the memory of kindness. This truth extends beyond kings and courts. In families, in friendships, in lovers' quarrels, fear often holds more weight than affection. A parent who is only loved may be disobeyed. A parent who is feared will be obeyed. A lover who is loved may be betrayed. A lover who is feared will rarely be crossed. Men obey not because they wish to, but because they fear what will happen if they do not. And yet men will deny this with passion. They will say love conquers all, that kindness endures, that gentleness wins hearts. This is the lie they tell themselves to soften the hardness of the world. But in their actions, when survival is at stake, they prove the opposite. Watch how quickly they abandon affection when danger rises, how swiftly love becomes a whisper in the face of fear. So remember, love is a gift, but fear is a weapon. Love can inspire, but fear compels. A wise man accepts love when it comes, but he builds his foundation on fear, for only fear ensures obedience when love is gone. Know this, men may forget kindness, but they never forget dread. Men speak loudly of virtue. They preach honesty, kindness, humility, and justice as if these qualities govern their every act. But peel back the surface, and you will find that morality is not the substance of their being. It is a mask, carefully crafted, worn only when it serves their advantage. Consider how men act when no eyes are upon them. Do they uphold the virtues they so proudly proclaim? Rarely. When secrecy shelters them, their choices reveal their true nature: ambition, greed, lust, envy, and the hunger for power. Yet when they step into the gaze of society, they dress themselves in morality, not because they are virtuous, but because virtue is useful. It is a currency that buys trust, admiration, and influence. A man who is thought honest is trusted, and thus finds doors open to him that a liar could never unlock. A ruler who appears just earns loyalty, even if his heart harbors cruelty. Cultivatesa jots rep tation, for fairne alias mftali ara ther, than on asatrates business, dealings he may pexploriitng, every s that made the weakness he se colors s. This is the game of morality. It is not lived but performed. It is theater staged for the approval of others. Do not misunderstand me. I do not condemn this. I simply reveal it, for the one who knows that morality is a mask can use it as a tool. He wears it when it benefits him and discards it when it hinders him. The fool clings to morality even when it destroys him. The wise man understands that morality must bend to necessity. History is filled with men praised for their virtue, yet their actions, if studied closely, tell another tale. They lied, they deceived, they killed when required, but because they cloaked their deeds in the language of justice or faith, the world forgave them, even admired them. It is not the act itself that earns condemnation, but the appearance of immorality. Thus, the clever man sins in silence and smiles in public. Ask yourself, when men donate to charity, is it always out of pure compassion? Or is it often for reputation, for influence, for the applause of the crowd? When leaders speak of justice, do they seek fairness for all? Or do they use the word to justify the victories of their own ambition? You will see, if you look closely, that morality is the costume behind which self-interest hides. The dangerous man is not the one who sins openly, but the one who cloaks his ambition in virtue. He fools the crowd, seduces their admiration, and bends them to his will, while they believe they are following a saint. Such a man is invincible, for he rules both by deception and by the willing blindness of those who worship appearances. So do not be fooled when men speak of virtue. They are not what they claim to be, and if you are wise, you too will learn the power of the mask. For in this world, morality is not truth, it is strategy. Every man speaks of freedom as if it were the highest treasure. They cry for liberty, they raise banners in its name, they chant it in the streets. Yet watch them closely, and you will see the irony. Those same men who exalt freedom bow quickly when faced with strength. For in the end, it is not freedom that governs their choices, but the shadow of power. The common man desires freedom because he imagines it as the absence of restraint, the ability to live as he pleases, to speak without consequence, to act without interference. But such freedom exists only in dreams. In reality, men live under laws, under rulers, under customs, and under the silent judgment of society itself. The truth is that people do not truly seek freedom. They seek comfort within the boundaries of strength. They will surrender their liberty willingly if a strong hand promises safety, order, and the illusion of security. Look at history. When chaos reigns, when violence spills into the streets and law collapses, the people cry not for freedom, but for a leader who will restore order, even if that order is built upon chains. They do not care if the ruler is harsh, so long as he is strong. Weak rulers who speak of liberty soon fall, while the iron-handed are obeyed and remembered. This is the law of human nature. Men are drawn not to weakness disguised as kindness, but to power disguised as destiny. Even in private life, the same pattern unfolds. A man may dream of independence, of living by his own will, but place him in the presence of one who is decisive, confident, and commanding, and you will see him bend, often without realizing it. Strength imposes itself not by request, but by presence. Freedom is a desire, strength is a command. Do not mistake this. The people will praise freedom with their mouths, but in their hearts they are servants to authority. They respect the one who enforces boundaries more than the one who dissolves them. For without boundaries, they are lost, fearful, and vulnerable. A ruler who gives too much liberty is seen as weak. A ruler who takes liberty but offers order is obeyed and even loved in time. Men will curse the loss of freedom in secret, but thank their master when he protects them from chaos. This is the hypocrisy of human nature. The cry for freedom masks a deeper instinct, the need for strength to guide, protect, and even dominate. To understand this is to understand the essence of rule. Give men the illusion of liberty, allow them small choices, but hold the reins firmly in your hands. They will call themselves free while obeying your strength. So remember this. People desire freedom, yes, but it is strength they follow. The cry of liberty fills the air, but the sound that silences it is the voice of power.